1 minute. The Editor-in-Chief is live in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, welcome to the program. It is September the 18th. You're with the Editor-in-Chief live with Leicester's Oil, the multi-ingredient omega-3 healthy aging supplement backed by thousands of satisfied customers. Get the benefits of 6 supplements in 1 capsule to support joint, heart and brain health. Take as directed. Read the label. About Health Auckland. G'day, folks. Nice to have you company. I'm Duncan, Garner. Welcome. Bad news. Social media is messing with our kids' brains and COVID didn't help. There's been a 300% increase in these young people presenting with mental distress and self-harm, and suicide is up. It's the Cure Kids annual report and its CEO is with us, but I have good news too. The cellphone bans are working. Students are getting better results and more engagement, and a rugby ball breaking a window for the first time in 9 years is considered success at Mount Albert Grammar. Its principal, Pat Drumm, will join me shortly. And do you have a boss who's a bully? How to beat the bully? Tom the man from cv.co.nz with a how-to guide to beat the bully boss. Yeah, send us a message, let us know it's news time. It's Media Works Deputy News Editor. It is Grace Cocker, and a very good morning.
Coordinated attack that saw hundreds of pages blow up at the same time. 9 people were killed, including a child, while nearly 3,000 were injured. CNN's Nick Patton-Walsh says hundreds are critical.
Some of the images we're seeing from hospitals across the country show individuals with significant injuries, digits missing on their hands.
A warning that crucial Defence Force roles may soon be understaffed. Unionised civilian workers are refusing to work overtime or take call-outs after receiving a 0% pay rise. PSA Union's Dwayne Leo says their work is essential.
Whether it's loading, whether it's armoury, a number of occupational groups, things like cyclone relief and search and rescue.
NZDF has been approached for comment. New figures show people are losing huge amounts of money through serious cyber attacks. National Cyber Security Centre spokesperson Michael Yargish says a concerning amount was taken without people even knowing.
$3.6 million lost to unauthorised access, where an attacker has access to your account, potentially commit crimes without you knowing about it.
Sean Diddy Combs has pleaded not guilty to a raft of sex charges in a Manhattan court. The rapper is accused of running a criminal enterprise that threatened and abused women, including sex trafficking. His legal team are offering to post an $80 million bond package so he can be released, but prosecutors oppose this, claiming the 54-year-old is a flight risk. To sport, prop Ethan de Groot's back for the All Blacks after having a needle put through the front of his neck to heal a bulging disc.
Stick it in 10 mils, so they stick it right in to get way into the back of the neck. It did hurt, but yeah, it's not that gruesome, it's just a needle.
The team to face the Wallabies in Sydney on Saturday is named tomorrow. To football, and Aston Villa's thrashed Swiss side Young Boys 3-0 on their return to the Champions League. And the Black Caps are likely to play just 2 pace bowlers in today's opening cricket test against Sri Lanka. The surface in Gaul is set to suit the spinners. Captain Tim Southey knows he'll have to work hard for wickets.
It's a tough place to come as a pace bowler, but if you can have success in this part of the world as a pace bowler, it's very, very rewarding.
Play is scheduled to start at 4:30 this afternoon. That's news and sport.
Thank you, Grace. Ethan de Groot gets a 10 millimetres into his neck, or 10 millimetres.
That's gotta hurt. I remember my husband had to get, what are they called? Steroids. He really messed up his shoulder, and when after surgery it kept locking because he couldn't use it.
Yes.
And he felt pretty queasy after those, like huge needles into the
Yeah, I've had that, but in my back, yeah. It can hurt, but into your neck.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like
he's tough, right?
Oof. I mean, even when you go to the dentist, right, you have to get the little injections there, and you can feel it. And
are we going to hold the Bledisloe Cup?
Oh, you're asking me a sports question.
Last Forester.
I'm going to say yes, just because I should be patriotic, but we're not playing, from what I've seen and read lately, like 100%.
Well, hopefully we hang on to it. I think we probably can.
Yeah, I think maybe we just need a bit more patriotism behind us, maybe.
Yeah, well, we can't.
I'll
we
be
can't-
patriotic. I'll buy a T-shirt and wear it.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Duncan Garner, live.
How generous. Right, okay, the bad news, then I'll get on to some good news. She's not pretty reading this one. It's a bloodbath, really. This is the Cure Kids, the fourth annual State of Kids Health Report 2023. It's an indictment on the country, an embarrassment for us all, really. The negligence is laid bare. Our young people have been hammered by COVID, social media, other things as well. 300% increase in those presenting with mental distress. Self-harm is up significantly. Devices, social media, exclusion, climate change, all to blame, apparently. While Māori and Pacifica kids are doing it toughest, Pacifica kids are 114 times more likely to get rheumatic fever, 42 times more likely if you're Māori compared to Pākehā kids. Successive governments have said they've put record amounts of money in. It may be true, but it's likely to not have reached the kids in most serious need. Francis Soutter is the Cure Kids boss, and, well, it seems we're far from curing them, despite all your efforts. Francis, g'day, nice to have you on the program. What do we do? What do we do about this? Because it looks like it's getting worse before it gets better, and just on the mental health stuff, it looks really extreme.
Yeah, look, mental health is a shocker, and when you look at it over the past 15 years, kids are presenting 300 times more than what they were 15 years ago with sort of self-harm and emotional distress, and it's really tough, and it's like there's been this sort of just accumulation of things being thrown at children, particularly through the COVID pandemic, which is just making the outcomes worse. And look, Duncan, it is bad news, but I think that the whole objective behind Cure Kids doing this report was to get a laser focus. Doesn't matter what government it is, get a laser focus on what are the things that are really stopping our tamariki from living their best and healthiest lives, and to really hone in on the 5 key areas where our kids are being hospitalised. 60,000 kids a year are being admitted to hospital for completely preventable illnesses. So, if we hone in on those areas, then we're going to make a really big difference in turning those stats around.
That last government said that it reduced the poverty gap and it sort of got more kids out of poverty, but these numbers would suggest that nothing changed at all. If anything, it got worse.
Look, I think, one of the things that we learned was through COVID-19, and I keep sort of referring to the immunisation program. COVID definitely contributed to some really big health issues. Some, like respiratory diseases, actually dropped through COVID, but that was purely the artificial environment of isolation, basically. So, and unfortunately, a lot of those numbers have bounced back again. So, but I think the lesson that we learned was that when we go out with a big, I guess you could say, Pākehā lens on immunisation, and we're trying to lead people to be vaccinated, we got no traction whatsoever. As soon as we did that big U-turn and said, okay, communities know what their people need, let them drive the immunisation policy, then we saw those vaccination rates absolutely lift. And that's the approach that we need through all of the health challenges. So look to the communities. How can we bring the mountain to Muhammad, so to speak? So we have more community-based cares, providing health care through schools, through pharmacies, through local communities, so that your primary care is accessible and we keep these kids out of hospital for things like skin infections.
Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't be happening. Devolution is really important, heading into the community and making sure the community providers, because they're trusted, right? They're trusted.
Absolutely.
114 times. So Pacifica kids, 114 times more likely to get rheumatic fever than, say, their Pākehā mates in the classroom. My goodness.
Yeah.
My goodness. How shameful, for all of us.
Rheumatic fever is a scourge, and, I'm really passionate about this area of health. And, Cure Kids was instrumental in launching a big research campaign about 4 years ago where we said, let's try and solve the problems here, and looking at everything from why do some kids get rheumatic fever or get a sore throat and get rheumatic fever and other kids don't. So we need to know what's going on in the pathogenesis that some kids are more vulnerable than others. We need to look at ways that we can treat so that it's more acceptable. So penicillin's a painful injection. So how do we make it more acceptable, longer, have a longer half-life so that we don't need so many injections? And then the other thing too is we've got an amazing research program in looking at vaccinations for rheumatic fever and rheumatic heart disease. So all of those things together are going to help get rid of this scourge. And one of our incredible researchers, Dr. Annika Anderson, talked yesterday about how, as a result of that sort of baseline research that Cure Kids has funded, we've now got a 5-year plan to try and eradicate this disease. So that's really exciting. So we've just got to start somewhere.
Yeah, I've got to just start. Social media is a scourge. Social media is toxic. Social media is having a massive impact on these vulnerable young brains with adult themes. And initially I thought the Australians were mad trying to ban it for under 16s. I've flip-flopped all over the place and come to the conclusion, and I've got kids, I've got teenagers. It's no good, Francis. I mean, I don't know what your involvement is with it, but all I see is heads down and kids and phones, and it's having an impact. The stats show it.
Yeah, there definitely is. I mean, when we were growing up, Duncan, we'd go home from school on the school bus, and we wouldn't see our mates till the next morning when we started, and that gave us a window of opportunity to sort of debrief. Get ribbed by our siblings a bit and, build a bit of resilience and then face our mates at school again the next day.
True.
But these kids now are exposed to stuff 24/7. I think, like everything, it's moderation. So we're looking at technology that can help kids with mental health issues, looking at what are they looking at online and really clever technology which looks at what kids are doing online, and if there's any sort of warning signs about what they're looking at, then they get direct sort of, almost a bit like the way the advertising works on Facebook, where they get direct messaging which will lift them positively. So I think there's definitely some negative downside with social media and technology, but let's try and find ways that we can leverage it, because it's not going to go away.
No.
Well, let's try and find ways that we can leverage it to have a positive impact on our tamariki.
Yeah, but I wonder if the horses bolted for some of them. Last night we were watching Celebrity Treasure Island with another family, and all our kids, so a whole bunch of kids, maybe 6 or 7 of them, all came into the lounge, and I said, put your phones on the table. We either watch it or we don't, right? So they reluctantly put their phones on the table. One of the young fellas, he couldn't stop resisting looking at it. He wanted his phone back, and I said, no, we'll leave it there. You should have seen the angst, and do you think they could get through an hour of this TV program? Oh no, the unsettled nature, the disruption. Honestly, they've changed. I know.
Yeah.
Or were we always like that? I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's the ability to concentrate. It is tough, and it's hard to compete. It's really hard to compete with as a parent, as a grandparent, and we use the devices as a distraction as well. So and I think a big part of it is leading by example.
Yeah. Well, you're doing great work. Keeping the spotlight on it means that it's a forefront in our minds, and we can do something about it. So all the very best, and I appreciate your time.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you, Duncan. If people want to read the report, it's on our website, www.curekids.org.nz.
Good on you. Keep going. Keep
Lovely.
doing God's work.
Duncan.
Okay, cheers. Take care.
Ka kite ana.
I appreciate your time.
Duncan Garner, live.
Yeah, it's such a concern. There's some hope, though. The phone ban brought in by Prime Minister Luxon was initially scoffed at. I think I might have been one of them. But it may be working. Mount Albert Grammar School was desperate for change, so it did it a year before the government. It's had startling results. More engaged students. The school grounds are once again abuzz with pupils doing what we used to do. Games, bull rush. I even think bull rush is back, actually. And the best bit, when a rugby ball recently broke a school window at the school at Mount Albert Grammar, Pat Drumm said that was the first time in 9 years that a window had been broken, and he could smile because he said that's progress. I spoke to Pat a short time ago. Pat, thanks for joining us. The cell phone ban, how have you found it? I know Mags did it a year earlier. What's been the results, do you think?
Well, that's correct. We were able to bring that remove cell phones from the school and learning setting at the beginning of last year, so we were able to transition into this year with a bit of experience, and it was a great experience last year, really. I must admit, a little bit surprised at how well the students took this on board, because that was a key part of making that change, was making sure we communicated with the students why we wanted to do this. And we got huge buy-in from particularly our senior leaders, and that made the whole transition a lot easier. And when it came to this year, it was a pretty straightforward process. And when the ban, for want of a better word, came in, but a huge change in culture. increase in engagement, activity around the school, and all the things we want with young people getting out and being active in their break times in particular.
And so you did it. Why? What were you noticing a year or so ago when you brought the ban in ahead of what the government did? What did you see that made you want to go with this?
So primarily it was what was happening inside the classroom. So these devices had obviously exploded over the period of COVID, and they became the norm. But the reality, as we all know, really is that there's a high degree of distraction with them. And in the learning process, you're wanting young people to be focused. The business of learning and thinking is hard work. It takes time. You need to build off what's happening around you with your rapport with your classmates, all of those sort of engagements. And sitting on a screen is not always conducive to that, particularly when the ability to move off into things besides what's being the lesson is focused on is so easy and very difficult to police for teachers. If you've got students potentially with a couple of screens out, maybe their tablet, and it could be the phone as well. So it was getting out of control for us. We were absolutely certain that the devices were creating a degree of distraction which was not conducive to the learning environment.
And teachers must have noticed a huge, because you get the feedback from the teachers obviously as the principal, and the teachers must have and still must be giving you feedback on it.
Yeah, well, it's just it allows. We're a traditional school. We believe in the value of the teacher leading the learning process and being really structured about that. Students, of course, have got to be highly engaged in that. But teaching new content, and we believe in knowledge-rich content as a driver of the teaching and learning process. It requires a lot of sustained thinking, and it's the antithesis of what sitting on your phone is about, because as we know, your phone is designed to move you very quickly between various pages and bits of information and apps and those sort of things, and it's wired to do that. And the human brain, in terms of learning, is not really wired to learn in that way. It's going back, repeating the work you've done, engaging with those around you. That's really the type of learning environment we're creating here. What,
in terms of the lunch times and breaks and things, how do you manage the phones? Do they come out of their bags, or do they have to stay in the bags all day?
Yep, and the bags all day. And that was a big shift this year. We moved from just not seeing the phones. Of course, they were going into pockets, which is there's problems with that, of course, with the other notifications that can come there. So bags and the phones in the bag when the students come into school. They can remove them from the bag when they leave school, and they do that. I assure you, when they leave school, the phones come out. But they have bought into that, and just having that physical distance of the phone, not on your body, on your person, has made a big difference as well. So they're not tempted to suddenly, reach for the phone if they get a notification or whatever in the midst of a lesson. So that's helped a lot. And again, the students have bought into that.
Pat, it's gone crazy, hasn't it? The use of cell phones, and you'll know this as being close to these boys. You're obviously we work all weekend. You're on the sidelines all the time. You see these boys with these phones outside of school time, and it's not just our boys. I mean, it's all the young kids today. How many hours is good? How many is not? I've seen some research recently that says that young kids using them today are not smarter than the kids that were using them in the last generation, because we've actually dumbed our kids down, because it's repetitive, it's fast, they're twitchy, you use the word distracted, they're distracted all the time,
Yes. Yeah, I mean, and that's the design of the, through the tech companies that are using that platform. I mean, that's to their advantage, that you're moving or not spending a long time on one piece of information or glued to one bit of information. I mean, again, the antithesis of what you need for deep learning, which is a slow, incremental process that needs to be reviewed and repeated and revisited and all those sort of things. I mean, that's not what you're going to get with a cell phone in terms of students' engagement with that platform. So, the good thing is that, I suppose, anecdotally, what we've seen is in schools as teachers and as parents is now getting some great research backing up the fact that we need to do something different here if we're going to look after our young people.
Yeah, Australia, I see, banned social media for they're trying that trial of under 16s. Good luck. Do you think we should? Do you think we should do something like that?
Well, I mean, again, how do you police it? I mean, the success of what we've had here at Mount Albert Grammar is the fact that the students have understood the why of why we wanted to do this, and I know they are enjoying a much more highly active, engaged, person-to-person environment which we're having in the school. I mean, it's created all those challenges around how we manage now students who move a lot more around the school. The cell phones and tablets are just fantastic babysitting tools. They're great people management tools. They sit down, heads down, don't engage with anyone. But now we've got kids, throwing rugby balls around. They're moving around the school. We've got huge football games on the bottom field. I mean, it's turning the clock back to where I think the things that we used to love about being at school as young people was just engaging person to person, shoulder to shoulder with our classmates.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that because in the time that we've been outside of school, all this happened. Of course, the cell phones came in and the kids got distracted at in their lunch times and everything. But in our day, we played rugby on the concrete. I know at Mount Albert Grammar they played concrete. They played rugby on the concrete at Mount Albert Grammar in the car park, and it was tackle, Pat. It was tackle.
Yeah. Well, those were the days, weren't they?
Yeah, I see you were celebrating recently that the rugby ball went through a window.
Well, we had we're in staff briefing in the morning, and then this almighty crash, and just in the corridor, and we went out and had to tiptoe our way around. But I mean, I haven't seen that in my 9 years here at Mount Albert Grammar School.
Wow.
And we sort of joked about it a little bit that it was in many ways it was a celebration. I mean, we had to address it with the young people, but I think it was symptomatic of the fact that we've got those sort of activities happening and students engaging with each other. That the talk, the volume in the school, the volume around the playground and the fields is escalated, and we're really celebrating that. Some challenges around how we our supervision, much more active in our supervision at duty times, but that's also a huge opportunity for staff to engage with students and connect with students when they're out there as well. So, there's win-wins all around here.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. It's good to catch up, and also this is also a lesson to parents over the weekend periods too. What's the point of having the band all week if for 48 hours in the weekend that's all they do? So it's a lesson to get them off their phones in the weekend too.
Yeah, and we're hoping that what we're doing in the 7 hours of the 24-hour cycle of a young person's daily life, that can be transferred, into the weekends where they might decide, look, let's leave our cell phones at home and let's go down the park or let's go to the movies or something like that and just see how we go with that. So it won't, hopefully it won't be such a foreign experience for them to realise they might have to talk to their mates for a couple of hours,
Old school is what we're looking for, old school. Wind it back. Hey, Pat, appreciate your time. I know you're a busy man, so thank you so much.
Yeah, all the best, Duncan. Okay.
Cheers, Pat.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Duncan Garner, live.
Yeah, interesting stuff. So some positive out of the negative. Forrest, a bit of feedback has come in around interviews this morning?
Yeah. Mostly about those kids and the mental health stuff.
Yeah.
15 years ago as a teen, you couldn't come forward and talk about mental health. No one ever took you serious. Come on, you're a kid. What problems do you even have?
Yeah. But what we have problems now because they're presenting, right?
Oh, totally. And I think that phones thing is a huge thing for kids. You're training your mind to be distracted.
Yeah, totally. I saw this last night. I mean, I see it every day. Okay, Forrester, you're the man. Thank you so much. Let's talk bully bosses. Have you got a bully boss? Does your boss bully you? How do you get around this? And also, have you suddenly lost your job? What do you do? How do you manage your way through this? Navigate your way through this? The best man in New Zealand to talk about this and to guide us is Tom O'Neill from cv.co.nz. He's the man, and he's with us now. Tom, g'day, mate. Nice to have you on.
Morning, my dear friend. Great to be back. Thanks so much.
Good on you, brother. Hey, the bully boss. There's a few of them around. What do you do? How do you get on top of them?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it's endemic. It's everywhere. I mean, I've worked in places that have had really bad bosses. I had one that pretty much ruined my career for a bit. So they are everywhere. It's like bullies, at school. They're sort of floating around, and unfortunately, a lot of those traits sort of come through. With narcissism and things like that. And as soon as a person sort of gets pushed up the ladder a bit, they sort of revert to that old style of bullying they had from school.
You give them a little bit of power, put them in a uniform, give them a bit of power, and they get the clipboard and they're away. And they end up actually targeting some employees, don't they? Because, the face doesn't fit, they don't like them, so then they target them, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, I never forget I had one boss where the old days, you had your phone on the desk and you had certain numbers pop up to say who was coming through, and it would come up with my boss. I'll never forget, my whole body would go into some sort of, shock. Here we flip and go, and take a couple of deep breaths, and you answer the call. I mean, it's horrible. And we talked in the early call. We talked about mental health. And this is the thing, we need to understand mental health is so important. I mean, just so crazy important, and really making sure that we're in a safe environment, that we feel good. You know, I mean, we don't want to be in an environment where we have to watch every single word we say and those sort of things. But we certainly need, my background's HR, as HR leaders to take the lead and clamping down on bosses that are out of control.
Yeah, and I seem to think these HR heads are on the boss's side. This is the problem. And I profiled a woman this week who was at Foodstuffs, a manager herself, who she said to her boss in a frank exchange, but a polite one, she said, you're bullying me. Can you stop bullying me? And the woman said, yeah, sure, no, I can do that. But in the meantime, she went away, found that she'd used $200 on her petrol card wrongly over Christmas, and she got sacked on Monday. She was sacked. Wow. She's a member of the management. She's in charge of 8 people. And so she's absolutely brutalised by this, and that's suddenly losing your job and a bully boss, But how do you manage a bully boss?
Yeah, the thing is, to be quite frank, just really respectfully standing up for yourself. And it's very, very hard to do, But again, detailing everything. So any sort of comments they make or, things that you feel are out of line, just jotting them down. Because what you're wanting to do is create a document you can go to say, well, actually, Brenda, on Wednesday, blah, 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 you said this to me. And to be quite frank, that's out of line. Yeah. And then I'd obviously encourage you, if you have the courage, to respectfully speak to your boss, actually sit them down, have a coffee, and just explain how you're feeling. Right now, for a lot of people, they just can't do that. Okay, understand that. But in a perfect best case scenario, that's what you'd be doing. Following on from there, ideally, obviously, HR is supposed to be there to look after their people, and that's their mandate. It's human resources, and of course, they are aligned with management. Let's be honest, at the end of the day. But if you're starting to create a list of, instances which have, real ramifications to your case, you need to bring that up and talk HR through it and let HR understand that actually this is an actual thing. It's not just me going, oh, she doesn't like me. It's me going, well, look, on 14th of June, she said this. Yeah. They said that. La, la, la.
Because this woman was really respectful, and she's a really good employee. She had no issues until this last few weeks, and she wrote it. I've seen the letter. She wrote a very respectful letter, and the boss came back very respectfully as well. But in the meantime, she was duplicitous and went away and said, right, let's get her, and she's gone.
Yeah, mate. Honestly, and this is the thing. You go out of your way, you do all the right things. And then suddenly the boss comes back. It's all in writing, so they can point to the letter of the 14th of March and say, well, look, I did respond to you, Tom. But in the background, they're, yeah. And so, again, it's just trying to detail it and really get HR to understand this is really serious. If you're in a union, obviously reach out to a union rep and really start to see if there's further discussions that can be made with an outside party, because it's just not on. This is 2024. We should be past this.
Yeah, grow
but
up.
Unfortunately, for some people, they're just not.
Yeah, grow up. Be mature about it. Be adult.
Mate, yeah.
The first thing you do when you suddenly lose your job, what I think we may have spoken about this a year or so ago, but it's breathe, isn't it? Breathe, just to start with.
Yeah. The thing is, you really want to do 3 things when you find suddenly out of the blue, boom, you're gone. The first one, as we talked about before, look after your mental health. Really need to look after that. Without that, you're going to be in real trouble. So I'd encourage you to have sort of 4 people, or could be 1 person or 2 people playing these different roles, but having an empathizer, someone that will just go, oh, okay, yeah, and will just listen to you and have that empathy. Another person, the taskmaster, that person that will really respectfully push you. It's a suck time. It's horrible, but it's very easy to lose your rag and just go crashing to the deck. So to have someone to be with you and support you, but give you goals and help you move to those. Another one's a cheerleader, someone that just celebrates no matter what. You get a job interview, you phone them up, woohoo, good on you, Duncan, that's awesome. And then finally a wise one, that person that will just give you wise insight. Maybe someone who's been through the recruitment process before quite a lot, or a manager in one, in your family or friends, whatever it is, but someone who can do that. So that's the first thing. Get that mental health right. Get that support team behind you. The second thing is hit the market, but you want to, it seems very self-serving, being the managing director of cv.co.nz. Come on, you need a strong LinkedIn profile. You need to represent yourself properly in the job hunt. Your CV is your brochure. LinkedIn is your website. Spend time on it and think about your achievements, what you've done, what you've achieved, and detail those. And then finally, get going. A lot of people just really struggle to get going, that confidence. But you just got to get that brochure out into the marketplace through, advertised jobs, but also what I call the hidden job market, where you just go direct to decision makers and organizations and send in your CV, introduce yourself. Because at the end of the day, if I decide to recruit someone, I'm saving myself 10, 15, 20, 30 grand in recruitment fees. So by sending your CV to someone, you're really helping them out.
That's what we'll do. That's what we'll do next time, actually, Tom. We'll talk about the hidden job market because, yes, the situation's vacant, but perhaps the really good jobs aren't advertised. So where do you go? What do you do? We'll put a ring around that for a couple of weeks' time, eh?
Awesome, mate. Sounds great.
Good stuff, Tom. Always appreciate your time, mate. You're the man. Appreciate it.
Real pleasure. Bless you, mate. Cheers. Have a great day.
You too.
Duncan Garner, live.
Okay. Duncan at rover.nz. You can flick us an email. It's Forrester, isn't it? Hi, Forrester.
Yeah,
how are you? Welcome back to the control team, control panels. What have we got? Bit of feedback?
Yeah, bully bosses, that's the norm. The passive ones are the worst. I think that's true.
The passive ones, they're annoying too. Yep.
Scared employees aren't good employees. That's so true.
Yep.
As a boss myself, I treat my worker like my friend. We work as a team. I don't even act like a boss. I act like we are two workers, even though I'm in charge of the business.
I love that. I've got a mate of mine who's been with the same company since he left school. He's done really well in sales, and the boss was at his 50th. He's his best mate. He is now, and they just treat each other as adults.
Yeah, exactly. Workplace respect for each other, I think.
Who's your boss?
My boss. It's in the engineering department.
Oh, right, somewhere. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Somewhere else, elsewhere. Yeah. You got a good boss?
Yeah, great boss.
Yeah,
great
brilliant.
Boss.
Yeah.
No, like super supportive.
Really, that's good. That's good.
Awesome.
Any other feedback?
Yeah, well, Heaps come in here. Someone says, "Is Duncan a good boss?"
Okay. Well, you guys just say. You guys. Okay. Yeah. Okay. It's on you. It's on you three.
No,
I'm not your boss.
A good boss. We work alongside Duncan.
I'm cruisy.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not that demanding, am I?
You're good to work with, though.
Yeah. You guys are smart. You aren't it? Yeah. Hi, Zarina. Love you guys. Okay, that's us. Cool man.
Duncan Garner, live.
Yes.
3 questions from the editor-in-chief.
Well, I've got about 6 today, but anyway, we'll start with this one. Will the extortionary prices we pay for power claim another company today? Potentially, yes. Already 2 pulp and paper mills have been forced to close because we, in our infinite wisdom, designed a system that screws all of us when it comes to our most basic needs. Power. Spot power prices have been at record levels, and a Penrose paper mill this morning will decide whether to close its doors for good. I don't care about Chris Luxon doing stupid things on social media, courtesy of his 7 social media staff. I care about Kiwis keeping their jobs and being in jobs. And do I see urgency from a government keen to resolve this? Hardly. I see a corporate Prime Minister who sees shareholders getting huge returns, and he's nodding away, saying, "What's the problem? Wake up, Christopher. Rome is burning. Stop fiddling. Get involved." That's why you're there, right? Yeah? Yes? Thank you.
2.
And number 2, how bad is it? Well, Transpower, this morning, they carry the power up and down the country, has issued 2 very rare warnings, one last night, one this morning, to the big generators to release more power into the grid because it's freezing. And they were worried that we might run short. Suits the generators that way too. Be concerned when they talk about a shortage. That's when they maximise their profits. And at 3 today...
3.
Oh, yeah. Who would be a teacher? Not many, if any. Numbers of new teachers have fallen by about 30% since 2010. So we aren't pumping them out like we used to. Bad pay, stigma attached to it. When was the last time you heard a guy say, "Hey, I want to be a teacher? I really want to be a teacher"? And also, is it time to give credit to the New Zealand Police? And clearly, Cuddles Andy Costa got the message that he likes his 600k salary so much he doesn't want to lose it. So his approach on the gangs has been amazing. The meticulous work that they've done in nailing the headhunters and the commentarios in recent weeks. Hundreds of charges, drugs seized, hundreds of charges, assets taken. It's left these gangs not just short of dough and gear and everything else, but it's a bit short in the swagger stakes as well. Give them credit. National told the police to jump, and Andy Costa said, "How high, sir?" Right, I even saw 3 cops on the beat in K Road yesterday. Old-fashioned 3 cops, not doing anything, gas bagging, but just being present. Here's number 6. Sonny Bill Williams says let the All Blacks based overseas play for the ABs. I'm with him. I'm with them. South Africa does it and they're killing it, so why don't we? We should do this. It's really, really obvious. We could pick some good players then.
Duncan Garner, live.
Yeah, so, Solomon has said to me, Duncan, good morning. This is an email. Duncan, good morning. Can you please add Simeon Brown to the plonker of the week list, please, for increasing the speed limits despite experts saying people will die if this happens? The evidence is there. He's just choosing not to agree with it. I've seen my fair share of fatal car accidents and do not want to go to more because some wanker is wanting to keep a shitty little election promise. On one hand, he's trying to increase breath testing to save lives, and on the other hand, he's raising speed limits. What the F? Not sure of your views on this, but maybe you could cover it off in your slam or your 3 questions. Also, how's Dave? Be good to see him again. What's he been up to since he left? Well, he's working is he at Stuff, isn't he? He's at Stuff, I think, yeah. There we go. That's how Dave is. Sorry, thank you for your interest, though. I really, really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Right, Slam Dunk. I got an email overnight from Northland, Len. It reads, there's some swear words in here, okay? Do we vote to swear? Do I vote to swear because it's in the email? Yeah, we'll swear. Okay. Fucking Air New Zealand. Heading up to Samoa, paid for a works fare, but they went right past us when it was time for the food. We waited thinking they'll come back, but when they started to clean the tables, we realised they weren't giving us a feed. So I asked where it was, and they went away to check their mistake and came back with some leftovers cobbled together. I asked what went wrong, and they blamed it on training new staff. What effing bullshit. However, worse was set to come. We landed tonight, this was last night, from Apia, and the airport was packed, and we needed to get on our connecting plane to the Northland. And we were cutting it fine to get our domestic flight. So we cleared custom with 10 minutes to go, but we didn't make it, so we had to book another flight and book into Novotel. It cost us $1,000 all up last night. And we checked into the hotel, we got the delayed message sent to us, and we could have made the flight after all. They just didn't send it to us early enough. They knew we were facing a delay, and the fuckers, these pissed me off. I then had to turn on my TV and watch you on Celebrity Treasure Island. What's worse? That's my rant for the day. Cheers, Len. Yeah, Air New Zealand, not good. If people are coming off an international flight and they're getting a connecting flight, get busy knowing what they're doing and get them off and get them on the connecting flight. $1,000 at the end of a holiday. This is your bread and butter. This is your business to know. $1,000 of unexpected costs because you couldn't do your job properly is unacceptable in New Zealand. Not good enough.
Duncan Garner, live.
Yeah, that would really annoy me at the end. That's why I hate flying, because it always happens to me, that sort of thing. Any more feedback, Forrester? It really annoys me, that sort of stuff. I hate holidaying for that reason. It's not a reason to stop you going on holiday, but it's one of those things that's just annoying, you know? Yes, Forrester?
Mostly just agreeing. I mean, they're short comments, so there's not really much worth reading out, but they do agree with you.
Oh, well, if we like it like that, it's like North Korea, isn't it? Hey, I see a bad haircut and I'm there.
Yeah, the difference is you're not a dictator.
I don't know. I wouldn't mind giving it a go. Right, that's us. Thanks for tuning in to Duncan Garner, Editor-in-Chief Live with Estes Oil, the premier-made New Zealand-made fish oil supplement backed by a study. Support joint heart, brain health. Use the code Duncan. How's this for a deal? For 10% off. Abouthealth.co.nz. Take as directed. Read the label. About Health Auckland. 0800 999 309. That number I give you, if you ring it now, there's people by the phones. It's like a telephone. By the phones, ding, 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 hello, and 10% off, okay? You'll get 10% off. Mention my name and you get 10% off. If you mention it twice, it's still 10% off. That is us. This is available as a podcast on Rover shortly and wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for your feedback and support. Thanks to TikTok for running us today. That's good, isn't it? Yep. Thank you to my team, Isaac, Forrester, Zarina, Maddie, thank you so much. We'll do it again tomorrow. Remember, from next Monday, we go live in the evening, 7 o'clock. Looking forward to that. I'm even starting to get dressed differently. So this is the evening attire. What do you reckon, Forrest? A bit like yours, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
In black and white?
Black, yeah.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, well, I think it's pretty sharp, isn't it? You don't know I've got jandals and shorts on, though, underneath this.
Oh, really?
I'm joking. It's all right. It's just
from the island. Still.
Yeah, I've done that before, actually. Yeah, on the AM show, I wore shorts. Anyway, remember, life's no dress rehearsal. There's no curtain raiser. This is it. We live in one of the best countries on earth. So get out and enjoy it. Have a great day and take care, New Zealand. Thanks so much for following us. Cheers.
That was Duncan Garner, Editor-in-Chief Live. Missed something on the live stream? Text Duncan to 3598 to listen back on the podcast. Want to get in touch? Call 0800 863 293.